Hello. Cindy and George, I wondered if you'd be here. Hello. Yeah, you guys are brightening my day for sure. What is Batman's favorite chicken dinner? Kung Pao. Kung Pao. Remember the cartoons where you'd see the little stars, right? Kung Pao. All right, brighten my day, made me laugh. Hi, Nancy. Hi, Lauren. Good morning. Well, Nancy was not normally with us, but Lauren was, and so were George and Cindy, and Michael and Nancy were together on Wednesdays. So I was just speaking with Cindy this morning about wanting to get back together in person. And yeah, I know that it's hard. I know that there's so much about what's going on that's a challenge. And just doing our best to kind of go with the flow and ride the waves of what's happening. In terms of online in-person classes, I don't know. They just came out to say that, of course, the next session will be on Zoom again, which is July and August. It just is what it is. And so, I don't know. I keep showing up. I'm here. And definitely different for me as a teacher, for sure, without my props, without being able to be in the space with everyone, without having everything, just feeling the energy and the conversations and all of that. But I want to say that there's also a lot of moments that I realize the value and the benefit of showing up all the time. And so I know this is going to sound weird, but one of my most toned areas, because I have stored energy, and I probably always will, because I always have. But I feel strong and great, so I'm not complaining. But one of the areas in my body that I notice that I am always practicing yoga is my forearms. And I don't know, I can't see it as much here because I restricted my arm here. But the muscular definition in my forearms from all that I see right there. So as silly as that sounds, it motivates me, and it makes me think, all right, show up, go there, do this, share, practice, teach, whatever. So anyway, that's just what I wanted to say. I'm blurry. Nancy, is it me or is it you? Am I blurry still? Huh. Oh my God, Lauren, you have kittens? Lauren, you're a cat person. Oh my God. Well, those 2 cats I got last year have caused my other 2 cats to spray. I'm throwing away stuff every day because they're spraying and marking their territory. So I have 4 cats. 2 docile males tend to twin. Aw, Nancy, are you tempted? Nancy's a cat person. She has 1. Aw. I know Lauren fosters kittens. That's what my daughter wants to do in her next life. Lauren, oh my goodness, a blast from the past. I am so happy to hear you. Last time you were here, you had an injury. I believe you had fallen, I think, and I'm not 100% sure if that's what it was, but there was something. So anyway, so happy to have you back. Am I still blurry? Yeah, she would. Am I still blurry, you guys? I mean, I guess if you said that, why would I be blurry? Yes? Okay, well, maybe that's like Barbara Walters, right? Okay, so here's another question. Do I have wrinkles? Well, can you hear me though? And can you see my form? Oh, blurry connection. No wrinkles. No as in what? What's the no part? No, I'm not blurry? Or no, there's no wrinkles? Yes, we could see you. Okay, perfect. So here's what I would suggest. There's so many things that suck, that are a challenge. I'm sorry if I'm blurry. On Thursday, my class, that's the first time I think actually I got dropped completely from a class I was teaching. And so I know that can happen. No wrinkles. There are wrinkles. But if I'm blurry, there'll be less. So I'm going to be happy with that. So if you guys could hear me, even if you can't see me, let's let that be the guide. Let's not say, oh, she's blurry. Forget it. We're not doing this today. because your muscles and bones are going to break down today a little bit. And so we're going to go against that, right? So that breakdown of aging is happening, whether I'm blurry or not, whether I have wrinkles or not. So let's take that notion that we're going to be here, we're going to listen, and we're going to do the best that we could do to work on our body. Okay. Yeah, I know, Stevie. That's what we were just talking about, that I'm blurry. And I said the good thing is then you won't see the wrinkles. So I'm sorry I'm blurry. I don't know what the heck is happening. I got dropped on Thursday's class. So this is my first class after that dropped class. I don't know what the deal is. But if you can hear me, let's just go with that. Let's go with hearing and see what happens. I don't know where my husband is to ask him to help, and I don't even know if he could help. So can we just practice and listen? I want to get a bolster today. All right. So hopefully this is going to work. Hopefully you'll be able to hear me, and that will be good enough, because I was working with someone yesterday and she was telling me that I describe things so well. And I told her the reason why is because when I had my first hip surgery, I was non-weight bearing for 6 weeks. I was in a cast that wouldn't let my body bend. I was in crutches. I remember new women showed up to a class and it's like, here's the yoga teacher and she's in crutches. I don't know what, but that time of having my journey with my hip where I really was struggling, I'm going to say that there was about a 2.5 year period of my teaching that was the case for me. I had to learn how to describe movements in your body, because I would watch people, and if they weren't doing it correctly, I would find something else to add some refinement. So let's go with listening today. Let's turn on our listening aspects, closing our eyes and heightening the sense of sound, because the sense of sound is really profound. And, a lot of creatures, actually, that's their predominant sense is of sound. And especially animals. For those of us that are into animals, you really can see the nervous system at work with animals, and especially with sound, especially the ones that have the ears that can move. So you see that in bunny rabbits, you see it in cats, you see it in horses, where they have more erect ears. So you actually really see how they're always trying to gather that information. So let's let sound be our guide today. And hopefully everything will be loud and clear. So I'm going to begin today's practice in a seated position. You could choose whatever is appropriate for you. It's really about slowing down and stopping, and depending on where you're at, that may be more challenging to go down onto the ground if your energy is in a high place. And so I'd like you to choose what's appropriate for you. The practice of yoga, the goal is liberation from suffering. It's your practice to integrate your mind and your body to this moment. And then to move your body, to stretch your body, to increase the range of motion, to increase secretion of fluids, and to keep yourself mobile, limber, and strong. And then to balance your mental energy. So what's appropriate for you? Supine, laying down on your back with some kind of support, or would you rather be supported in a seated position? Today, I'm going to choose seated. The other props for later can go off to the side. And then the props you're going to sit on, get yourself set up for whatever it is you're going to do. If you don't have a bolster, you could use pillows. And then putting the legs in a position that's appropriate for you, letting your knees do what they need to, your hips do what they need to. And then go ahead and close your eyes wherever you are, whatever you've come into. Start to bring your awareness to the witness mode. So first thing, with the eyes closed, pay attention to the senses, the sense of sound. the sense of smell, the sense of taste, let's integrate the sense of sight and feel and allow your awareness to go inside. With the eyes closed, exploring and noticing what you notice. This is a good time to notice where you may have issues, where you may have tightness, where something is signaling, whether it's quietly or in a louder sound or voice. The body will give you signals, and at first they'll be slow and quiet. And if you don't pay attention and heal them, they get bigger and bigger and bigger. They turn into disease, dysfunction, chronic ailments. So go inside your body right now and notice, where do you need to focus your attention today? Bring your awareness to your body weight. Is it forward or to one side or to the other? And can you try to find center? For many, moving the body back will be applicable here. Let your hands be on your thighs or down alongside your body if you're on the ground. Let your elbows be under your shoulders if you're seated to help support you. Closing your mouth, noticing the coolness of the air on the nostrils. And direct your breath to the areas in your body that you feel need extra love and attention. Breathing down now to your belly. So I'd like to do a progressive lengthening of your breath. I'm going to count, and on each breath, I'll add a number all the way up to the number 8 on the inhale and on the exhale. And then I'll count back down to 1. So let's prepare. Take a big exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. 2. Exhale. 2. Inhale. 2, 3. Exhale. 2, 3. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3. Exhale, 2, 3. Inhale, 2. Exhale, 2. Inhale, exhale. Continue with inhaling and exhaling. If you'd like to add a number that felt appropriate for you, 6 is actually the sinus rhythm. So inhaling for 6, exhaling for 6. Try it on your own, counting in your mind. Keep your mind on counting, your mind on your breath. Finishing up your last couple of breaths. Bringing your hands together. Rub your hands together. Bring your hands to cover your eyes. Blinking your eyes open. And then gently allow your hands to come down. So the practice of yoga is about managing mental energy. It's about controlling the mind. And breath practices, and especially if you add counting, it actually gives your mind something to do, and it brings you to a part of the mind that is conscious, that gives you control over it. So when we learn these breaths, it's actually also, it's great during the day to do this, and it's a great practice to find that calm in your mind throughout your day so that you stop whatever it is that the mind is contributing to. Quite often, most of the time, breakdown in the body, utilizing stored energy or energy that's available. So it's a big factor of fatigue and chronic fatigue is the unmanaged constant daily thoughts we have. And because we're consumers and we're bringing information in through our senses all day, every day, we're listening, watching, feeling. So learning how to control your mind with breath is super powerful, probably one of the most valuable tools in the practice of yoga. And it really comes in handy at night if you're someone who has trouble sleeping, or if something crazy is happening in your life and you need to just stop and be out of that situation. So that is a progressive counting. You could choose a range that works for you. You could start at 1, going up to 8 or even 10. Sometimes a little harder to do the exhale on 10. But that's just some more techniques for you to have to help you manage your mental energy, which is going to have lots of side effects: better health, better sleep, more energy. So try that. All right. So today we're going to begin the practice in a seated position. So I'd like you to come into a seated position. So wherever you are now, if you're on the ground, go ahead and bring yourself up and come into a seated position. So I like to put the blanket underneath my legs because the ankle bones can get a little sore. And whenever you're doing the physical practice, let the postures that we do create the stress in certain areas and try to take it out of other areas. So sitting is really challenging, and that's why we have the physical asana practice of yoga, because the goal was to meditate and control the mind, and they would sit like this for hours and their backs would hurt and their hips would hurt and their knees would hurt. So they developed the physical practice to strengthen their body, to be able to bend their knees, bend their hips, and keep their spine erect for a long time to be able to work on managing mental energy. So the physical practice is to strengthen all of these parts of our body. Do what you can, bring the pressure and stress into your body wherever it's appropriate for you. So in a seated position, notice where your knees are. If your knees are up high, that's tightness in your pelvis, tightness in your hips, and tightness in your low back. So work on that so that you can get into a lower knee position if possible. Bring the soles of the feet together if your knees are not happy, or bring the feet one in front of the other. Let's begin in the seated position. Reaching, grabbing a hunk of flesh, move the hunk of flesh back. Reach the hunk of flesh, move the hunk of flesh back so you're really on your pelvis. And then allow your spine to be nice and tall. Take your hands on your thighs. We're going to do Sufi grinds. We're going to go around in circles. Pick a direction to go in, close your eyes, and begin to go in small circles. Feel the weight moving. See if you could feel the movement of the muscles that mobilize the spine. So these are low back muscles, waist muscles, core muscles. The hip joint gets involved here. And see if you could feel what's happening in your body. Start to get a little bit bigger with your circle. And then start to slow your circle down. When you come forward, you're inhaling. When you go back, you're exhaling. Make the biggest circles you can. Use your hands to push down to keep your spine long and really stretch the hip joint, stretch the low back. Take one more circle in this direction, really slow, nice tall spine. And then bring yourself back to center, pushing down, get nice and tall through the center. And let's go in the opposite direction, beginning with smaller circles, staying pretty centralized. And then begin to go a little slower. And go even slower. Make the biggest circles that you can. So you inhale when you come forward and you exhale when you're back. See if you could feel the hip joint stretch, the low back stretch. Keep your spine long. Few more circles. Add a smile to your movements. Bringing yourself back to center. Get nice and tall. Feel your body here. Bring your awareness to your eyes if your eyes are closed and allow them to blink themselves open. Let's take the legs, straighten the legs. Shake your legs. When we bend our limbs, we block off the flow, and then when we open them, we release it. So just like a kinked hose, when you unkink it, there's a burst of fluid coming out of the hose from that built up pressure. And so in the practice of yoga, when we bend our joints, we actually create a pressure so that when we unbend, we allow for that flow. It's really amazing what this physical practice does for our body and what that can do for prevention and warding off future pain and suffering in the body. Let's take the feet flex. So you're seated upright. You're going to have to work here with your muscles to maintain the integrity of this posture. And if it is too much of a challenge, you could take your fingers here, push down to help, and definitely have your hands alongside your body, because then your shoulder blades can help. Then you're going to take your feet, you're going to point one and flex the other, and then switch. Legs are straight, strong as you can here. You'll feel the calf stretching on one and the top of the foot on the other. And try to make it so that the toes are reaching either straight up towards the sky or straight away from you, and not out to the sides or not in. So really work on that functionality of the ankle joint as it bends the foot. Straight legs here, you may start to feel burning here in your hip flexors, your quads, which one of them is a hip flexor. And then bring your feet to a static position. Let's inhale to open the toes. Exhale to bring the toes towards each other. Have your feet be spread a decent distance here. Inhale to open. Exhale. This is a hip joint movement. See if you could feel this in your hips. Inhale and exhale. And then bring yourself into a crisscross leg position or soles of the feet together if your knees don't like to bend too much. So go towards the crisscross like you're going to go into it, but you'll see that one foot comes in and I want you to switch. Bring the other foot in first. We're going to move our spine in 6 ranges of motion. The first one is flexion and extension. So a back bend is extension, a forward bend is flexion. But what I really want you to pay attention to is this part of your body, because the front of our spine is not as strong as the back of the spine. And if we put compressive force in the front of our spine over time, that can fracture the spine. And especially if you have bone density loss, that can fracture the spine. So really pay attention when you come to the flexion, try to bring it to the low back or the lower spine, pressing the belly button back. You'll feel yourself tilting back in your pelvis, and you'll feel a stretch in the low back, and still maintain the integrity and the openness here in the spine. So you could flex the neck and flex the lumbar, flex the 2 ends of the spine when you're coming into the forward movement. The inhale brings you into extension or back bend. Press the back of the spine into itself. Feel stretching in your body. And then exhale, contract your core, push your belly button strongly towards the low back. Push the low back back, and then bring the chin towards the chest. Maintain the length in the middle part of the spine. Inhale and exhale. Don't collapse your rib cage. Keep your rib cage facing forward. So let the bottom and the top of the spine flex. Inhale and exhale. Or skip the flexion if you have osteoporosis. And let's go a little faster, as if we were a well trying to get water out of a well, pumping the well to get the water out. Let's pump through our back, get those fluids to release, to pump, to move around. And then bring yourself back to center. We're going to move now into the side bending of the spine. Your spine has discs between it. So we're going to go side to side, squishing the fluid in the discs from side to side. So lubricating the spine here, keeping the discs nice and moist so that we minimize degeneration of our discs. It's called degenerative disc disease that happens as we age. And it's actually wrinkles on the inside. So we don't see them, but they're there. So let's work on our inside wrinkles today, getting lots of stuff to move. Let's take the hand, one of the hands to the side. Make sure it's on the side and not forward. So you want to laterally flex, which means side bending, not forward side bending. So you take your hand to the side, take your other hand, either hand is on the shoulder if you have shoulder issues, or the hand comes all the way up. You choose. You inhale up, exhale into that deep stretch. Inhale to come up, exhale into the stretch. Inhale up, exhale. Imagine you were against a wall and your fingernails could graze on the wall behind you. That's how far back and to the side you want your arms to be. Maybe you let your hand be a little farther away, or you let the elbow bend to go a little deeper, only if it feels appropriate for your back. And then one more each side. And then bring yourself back up to center. We're going to do rotation. 80% of the rotation happens where the low ribs meet the low back. 80% here at the thoracolumbar. So just do a little bit of this here. Take your hands, put your hands in the center of your body and go like this. That's where 80% of the whole spinal movement is. So out of the 26 vertebra, this is where the movement of rotation is. If you bend forward to reach to get something, it happens here. This is why there's so many low back issues, and this is why so many people hurt themselves when they're bending and reaching for something, when they do forward flexion with rotation. So because we do this in our normal daily life, let's work on strengthening our body, raising awareness to how we move so that we move more safely and we minimize injury. So right where the lower ribs is where the rotational force takes place. Where we have the most rotation in the vertebra is in the neck. So let your head look side to side. Let it only be the head that's moving. Your head is looking side to side. Notice, are you able to look over the one shoulder more than the other? And then bring yourself back to center. We're going to add this rotational force into the spine slowly. We're going to start up here where most rotation exists, and then we're going to introduce the thoracic spine where the 12 ribs are attached, the 12 bones here. And you'll feel this here, and the muscles that do this work are rotational muscles of the core and the back. So I want you to be in your body here, maybe even closing your eyes, especially if you're someone who has low back issues or back issues. Close your eyes so your body can be the guide on, yeah, that's a safe place to go, or that's a little bit too much. So let's begin with the hands on the thighs. Exhale. And then inhale, let your head look in one direction. Exhale back to center. Inhale the other direction. Exhale back to center. Inhale, back to center, and inhale. Back to center. Now I want you to let the hand and the shoulder go. As you inhale to look farther back, your hand slides back, and then exhale back to center. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. So now we're going deep, and we've actually got those rotational muscles of the lower trunk involved. So feel that. If you keep your hands here, you let your elbow go back with your head, that's going to keep you more safe in this movement. Inhale. Exhale, one more. And then bring yourself back to center. So those were the 6 movements of the spine: the flexion and extension, the lateral side bending side to side, and the rotation. There's many cultures that say the health of the individual is determined by the health of their spine. So keeping your spine mobile and moving it throughout the day in 6 ranges of motion, really important. So I'd like to share with you what my friend who's a chiropractor said. He calls it his $1 million move, and he teaches this to all of his patients. So it involves rotation. Keeping your elbows, when the elbows are under the shoulders, that's the safest place for your back. Elbows under shoulders, safest place for your back. Elbows forward of shoulders, not safe. And think about what you do all day long where your elbows are forward, because now your shoulder blades have come to the side of your body. They are no longer supporting the head and the upper back. So when the elbows are underneath the shoulders, that's when your back is in its safest position. That's when your posture is supported in your body. So elbows back, do that throughout your day. So beginning with the elbows back, hands are down on the thighs. Let's inhale to the side and then exhale over to the other side. Inhale, exhale. And you could go at a decent pace here, pumping the fluids in the spine. And then you start to let your hands come a little higher. And a little higher. Elbows are still alongside your body. Your hands can come up to shoulder height. Your elbows can come up to shoulder height. And then start going down and go at whatever speed is appropriate for you. And then bring yourself back to center. Let's close the eyes. Go inside your body to feel what you feel. Notice what you notice. And then blink the eyes open. So get your block for this next movement. Get your block and take your legs wide. Put your block on the ground right in front of your body. Highest for those that have tightness, a lot of tightness. Maybe the middle level for those that are okay with that, or the bottom level. Having this here so you could push down to maintain the open and the length in the front of your spine. For all of us, that is really important. And if you have osteoporosis, it's extra important. And since 50% of us over age 50 have disc degeneration and bone density issues, it's good to err on the side of caution if you haven't had any diagnostics yet on those things. So legs are wide here. pushing down on the block wherever it is you need it, because pushing down will help to activate the erector muscles. Push down and get tall. Really spread your legs here. And then if you want a little bit more, if you have a little bit more to give, right here, imagine you have raw eggs right here where your leg attaches to your body. And you're going to try to bring your body forward so you actually put more pressure on those raw eggs, still keeping your spine open. You could push down on your block here to help you. Coming forward will actually add more tension and more stretch for those that have that ability to do that. For many of you, just being here is enough. And then when you're forward, you could do a little side to side where there's a little rotation that comes into the trunk, and it's going to add a little stretch if that's appropriate. So think about heart lights. Turn your heart lights to look over here. Turn your heart lights to look over here. And think about that movement pretty high in the rib cage. And then bring yourself back to center. Bring yourself all the way up. Let's take the block out to the side and bring your legs straight ahead. We're going to bend one leg. So bend the leg, bring it in as much as you can, as much as this knee will let you. And this is an interesting thing for those with knee issues. When your knee is out to the side like this is actually an externally rotated hip joint. So it's more forgiving on some of the muscles that can pull on the knee joint. So this is actually a more manageable position for people with knee issues. And if you do have knee issues and you're not bending your legs very often, and if this feels more comfortable, try to do this more often so you can introduce that feeling of flexion and all of the benefits that flexion can bring into the joints, right? Moving all the fluids, moving the arthritic deposits, allowing things to go back into the system to be dealt with, either delivered back to the bones, the minerals where they belong, or the stuff that no longer is needed gets metabolized and excreted out of your body. So you're to take your hand here on the inner leg, whatever leg this is for you, making sure that you open up the shoulder joint. So don't collapse the shoulder joint. Keep that shoulder joint open. Hand is here, using the other hand here. So we're going to be using flexion and rotation of the spine at the same time. Bring your hand pretty high and forward. Let your gaze look at your thumb. Take an exhale. And then inhale, reach your hand up and back. Let that shoulder blade slide onto the back towards the spine. And then exhale to come back. The biggest and most important part of this movement is this end part, and your head has to be in alignment with your hand. It's not about how far back the hand goes. It's about the arm and the nose being in the same position, the shoulder blade going onto your spine. Inhale, exhale. One more. Inhale to open. Stay here. Reach your fingers long. Reach your hand long. Push your pelvis into whatever it's on and lengthen your spine. Push your heart forward. Use your hand to reach out and the other hand to press to get more rotational force in your trunk. Deep breaths down to your pelvis. And then you're going to exhale to bring yourself back, to bring yourself out, noticing what you notice. Bring your legs straight, strengthening, lengthening. So I like to say that we could be our own chiropractor. And in that movement there, I felt so much spinal adjusting in my sacrum and in my lower lumbar spine. I felt my shoulder blade gliding on my rib cage at the back. And I felt my shoulder joint moving back deeper to the socket. So a lot of great stuff, really important stuff for the majority of the people that I work with, and probably you too. Let's go to the other side. So bending the knee, noticing here, is this side easier? Is this side more challenging? paying attention to where you may have asymmetry in your body. So push your pelvis down, get nice and tall, bring the hand forward, press the hand on the inner knee, and then open up that shoulder. Do not let it collapse. Open it up. And when you use the hand to push down, you get that length and you get that openness. Take your hand forward, looking at your fingers, spread your fingers, take an exhale. Inhale, reach long and reach up. You inhale to open. You exhale to close. Last one, inhale to open. Slide the shoulder blade towards the spine, reach along with your fingers, look at your thumb, deep breaths down to your pelvis. Take one more breath. Bring yourself forward, bring yourself all the way out. Take your legs straight, feeling your body, noticing what that did. Let's bring the soles of the feet together. Soles of the feet together. Lengthen your spine here. Use your hands to hold onto your shins to get nice and tall. Then press your knees down as much as they'll go down. Notice if they're high. For those of you that have the knees up here, that's a lot of tightness in the body, working to stretch and create more range of motion in your hips and in your spine. Your low back will be very therapeutic for you in the long run. You can bring your body forward if you have that ability. And then bring yourself all the way out. So I'd like to come into a squatted position for those that can. And if you did have a bolster here, coming from a bolster position, for those of you that can, and I know that's not everyone, so try that if you're able to. If you're on a bolster, try to be on the bolster, but then you lift up and down off the bolster. The other thing is for those that that's a challenge to come into it that way, you could take your blanket. So this will be a way to practice squatting, if you'd like to practice squatting, which I have a lot of people asking me about that, about maintaining the squatted position. And if you are someone who plans to travel the world, there are certain parts of the world where going to the bathroom means there's the hole in the ground. And the only option is to squat. So for those of us that want to go to India and maybe some other parts around the world, that is the option sometimes, is a hole in the ground. So take your blanket and fold your blanket so you make a decent high ledge. And for some, it could be that you need even more of that. And then if you come to the blanket, you put your heels underneath the blanket so you have a little bit of an elevation. And the thing with squatting too, you want a really wide leg. So you want your legs to be wide. You want your hands to go on the inside and then press your hands together. And the other thing is you want to make sure you're not just dumping, you're not collapsing your spine and just hanging out here. So push your hands together, push your elbows into your inner knees and stretching the inner thighs, tonifying the lower body, the pelvic floor region. You could even do some pelvic floor activation when you're here so that you're activating and strengthening your pelvic floor in this position. Feel it's a really great way to have access to it. And then make sure that feels okay for you. So, and I know some of you may be looking at this and being like, no way, or wishing that you could do that. If you're close to bending your knees, if you are close to bending your knees, try to maintain that ability for the rest of your life. If you're too far away from that, that's okay. You're not missing out. That's just one other thing to do. But if you can maintain that, try, because it can be valuable and can be really healthy for the knees. All right, so let's move here. So get your blanket and bring your blanket into a folded position. The more knee issues you have, the higher the blanket may need to be for you. And then if you just need a little padding, try a little padding. Let's come onto all fours, really wide arms and wide legs. So almost the distance of your mat with your body. Then bring your body forward, bring your body back. Forward and back. Come back to center, go side to side, side to side. Bring yourself back to a neutral. Come forward, over to one side, back, over to the other side, forward, side, back, side, forward, side. Turn this into a circle, rolling around in the shoulder and in the hip. Come back to center. Go in the other direction. Close your eyes. Notice, is it smooth or sticky? And then bring yourself back to center. Take your knees a little closer together and then push yourself back into a puppy dog so that the top thighs come closer to the low belly and the arms are straight and you let your head rest on the floor. Spread your hands. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself forward and up. Let's come all the way up for a second. Take the hands, shake the hands. So this next part of the practice, we're going to be on all fours doing some things. We're going to be moving the spine and strengthening the muscles that support the spine. So if you do have wrist issues, either rolling up the front edge of your mat to create, it's this bend, it's this strong bend of the hand that makes it very hard to weight bear on. So if you minimize that and you don't have so strong of a bend and you weight bear, it may be a little easier. So if you roll up the front edge of your mat, or if you invest in wedge blocks or something like that, it can be really helpful. Or if it's not too uncomfortable, I suggest that you practice this more often so that you strengthen the wrist and the forearm and the hands. And studies show that the weaker we get in the hands, the greater the risk of falling and fracturing is. So really important for staying strong forever. Take your hands onto the ground. Take your hands a little wider than your body and a little more forward. We're going to do a little low back stretch. So begin to bring your awareness to your tailbone, which is right here in the base of your spine. And imagine a big paintbrush is duct taped onto your low back. So you have a big paintbrush duct taped on, and we're going to paint a strip of paint up and down the back wall. So it's only the tailbone painting up and down the back wall. So try to do this. Look at my rib cage. My rib cage is not moving. It's my tailbone moving up and down the back wall. We want to make sure that we don't do this, that we're not moving the rib cage up and down, but rather it's the pelvis that's doing the work. So I really want you to mobilize your pelvis here. Paint down the wall, exhale. Inhale, slowly paint a strip up the wall. Exhale to paint down the wall, and then up. Down the wall, It's an activation of the core to paint down, and it's relaxing the core to paint up the wall. Exhale to paint down. Low ribs move towards the spine. Pubis bone draws up towards low ribs. One more. Let the core do the work. Inhale. Come into a back bend. Open your throat. Come into a sway back horse position. Exhale. Start to paint down the back wall. Let your body go back. If you do not have knee issues or anything, you can come all the way down. Keep your head active. Inhale to come up. Ending with extension. Exhale, begin the flexion of the spine at the lower lumbar. And then lengthen the spine to come down. Keep your heart open. Inhale. Exhale. Feel that lengthening in the low back, lengthening the spine, lengthening in the underarms. Keep your head active. Eyes can be closed if you'd like. Bring yourself up. Bring yourself all the way up. Shake your wrists. We're going to stretch our wrists. Stay here if your knees don't like to bend. And if your knees are okay bending, flip your toes under and sit on top of your feet so that you stretch your feet when we stretch our wrists. Take your hand, bring your hand diagonally across your body, bend the hand down, keep the arms straight. And take your hand on the back, the other hand on the back of the hand, pressing it towards you, not just the fingers, the hand. Press the hand towards you. Feel that stretch on the top of the forearm, and then press the heel of the hand away. Press the hand towards you, bending the wrist, feeling the top of the arm, and then hand towards you. Take your hand, bend your fingers, all four of the fingers, bend them. Feel that. And then take your thumb and bend your thumb. Let's go to the other side. Take your hand, bring your hand across your body, bend the wrist, press the hand back towards your body. Feel the top of the arm stretch, top of the wrist. And then flip. Bending the wrist, one more time towards you. One more time, like this. And then let's do the fingers. Stretch the fingers. And then stretch the thumb. Come all the way up, especially if your toes sitting on your toes. Need a relief from that. Shake your hands, shake your wrists. Let's come onto all fours. Pointer fingers are forward. We're going to strengthen the back, the postural muscles. It's called spinal extension. Sometimes people call it balancing cat. We're going to lift both the hand and the leg up. And if it's too much for you to do the hand and the leg, do just the leg or do just the arm. So you choose what's appropriate for you. Pointer fingers are forward. Let's inhale the right hand forward and the left leg back. Take an exhale. Inhale to rise. Let your head go as well. Come into extension, really reaching as much as you can. And then exhale. Let the toes touch and the hand touch. Inhale and exhale. Inhale. Really stretch the heck out of your body. On this next one, we're going to stay lifted. Inhale to lift, long. Turn the palm inward, thumb up towards the sky. Reach long with the right arm, long with the left leg. Contract your core to protect your low back. Push your belly button back towards your spine. One more breath, and then bring yourself down. Let your body adjust here. Let your body find neutral. Right knee under the right hip, left knee under the left hip. Slide the left hand away, right leg away. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. You inhale to lengthen and to lift. Exhale to release. Stretch, stretch, stretch as much as you can when you come up. On the next one, you're going to stay up. Turn your palm in, thumb up, reach that arm, reach that leg. One more breath. And then bring yourself down. Come all the way up, shake. Let's go ahead and get the strap. Get your strap. Bring your strap here. So stay up here on your shins because this will be strengthening the pelvis, strengthening the hips. Wide legs or legs close together. Legs close together is a little bit more challenge for balance and a little bit more challenge for the spine to support you. So choose what's appropriate for you. Arms are overhead if the shoulders will let you. Bring the hands forward and then inhale, slowly let your arms go up over your head, reach back and reach down. Inhale up, exhale down. Try to go through that full range of motion. Try not to go too fast through the nooks and the crannies. Feel this stretching your chest, the shoulders. Make sure it's appropriate. If you have any tears, any rotator cuff tears or shoulder issues, may not be the best thing for you to do. And then bring yourself back. Let's take the strap about this distance, so not too much wider than the shoulders. You're going to bring yourself overhead and you're going to pull the strap like crazy, like you're trying to actually break it. Inhale up. As you exhale down, let the shoulder blades slide towards each other and then down towards the top of your pelvis. Inhale and exhale. The strap is away from your head. Keep the strap away from your head. Tailbone pointing down towards the ground. Try not to let it graze on your head and don't let your head be forward. So keep pushing your head back on top of your spine. Really working on strengthening the muscles of posture here. And try to point that tailbone down. Pull the strap, really pull like crazy. And then stay there and hold. Pull the strap, slide the shoulder blades towards each other, tailbone down, lower ribs towards the spine, pubis bone is lifting up towards the belly button. Pull the strap, shoulder blades towards each other and down towards the top of your pelvis. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself up. Let the strap go down. Bring your shoulders forward, bring them up, bring them back and down. Let your hands go along for the ride. Forward, up, back, and down. And then come to sit whatever way you can. If your knees will let you, sit on your heels. If you need to go to crisscross, go crisscross. Do whatever you can to let your elbows be underneath your shoulders. Come into a seated position. Close your eyes and go inward to notice what you notice in your body. We're going to go down onto the ground, letting all of this come into our body. You'll need your block. You'll need your block for this last part. So clear your space. So get yourself ready, take your blanket, fold your blanket, that's going to go at the top of your mat. Bring yourself down onto the ground, nice long spine. Bring yourself all the way down onto your back. Let the blanket be underneath your head. Let your sacrum, the base of your spine, rest on the ground. Knees are bent. Just feel yourself here. Feel what feels appropriate for you. Let your head go side to side. Bring yourself back to center. Reach for your block. Take your block. Let's lift the pelvis up off the ground and then tilt the pelvis so that the lower back, not where the lower back ends, the top of your spine is on the block. And the blanket underneath your head has to be really narrow here when you elevate your pelvis. For some of you, taking the blanket away completely will be okay. And then everyone slide the shoulder blades towards the spine so that you really support the upper chest area. Knees are pointing straight away, lengthening the back, allowing the fluids to come back to the heart and to the throat, into the brain. Breathe all the way down to your belly. Let your pelvis be heavy. If you'd like to bring your legs up into the air to make this a deeper inversion, you can bring your legs up into the air. Make sure your heart doesn't cave in. So lift the heart, press the heart up. If the legs are lifted, bring them down. Take one more breath. Bringing the block to the side. Bring the blanket back under the head if you took it out. Bringing yourself into final rest, Shavasana. You choose the best version of Shavasana for you. Nirame Kame Govinde Mukande Mudare Apare Hariyam Kariyam 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 Nirame Kame. Gently begin to deepen your breath. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Bending your knees. Draw one in at a time. Side to side. All the way onto your side. Take your hand on the ground, pushing yourself up to seated. Bringing your hands together at your heart, pressing your hands to your heart to your hands. Elbows are near your shoulders. We're going to close with a humming sound. Let's take a big exhale. Inhale. In gratitude, namaste. So today's practice was about ironing out the wrinkles on the inside, the unseen degenerating parts of our body that if we don't manage, add up to pain, discomfort, lack of range of motion, immobility, tightness, and lots of not great stuff that leads to not good feelings. Try not to use too much negative terminology, but pain and suffering and all that can come with being sedentary and having limited range of motion and tightness in our body. So I hope you feel good. I hope you ironed out as many wrinkles as possible. All right. So Lynn's here, right? Dave, how was that? For some of you that are here, I think about you. I know I did a lot of knee stuff. So Nancy, I'm sure some of that was impossible. Steve, if you're out there, I haven't seen you in years, but I'm imagining at this point, quite the yogi with all the yoga. Lauren, are you still here? Want to know how that was for you? I was thinking about you. I think it was your foot that you had hurt. So I was hoping that that was okay for you. Did I ever get more clear? And I mean physically, not in terms of auditorily. Fabulous. Fabulous. All right, Dave, good. Good, Michael. Thank you. Good. Can you guys see me? Am I still blurry? What's interesting, like around, I don't know when really the written word started to become the way people learned, but oral and oral teachings is the way that humans, how we evolved. And so today might have been a more oral and oral experience of a class. Okay, great, Lynn. But am I still blurry, or can you see my wrinkles? Well, you can't see my wrinkles now because I ironed them all out. Where's George? Is he there? Because if he still is, see, I'm a jokester too. All right. Anyway, have a great rest of your weekend, and I will see you all when I see you. Oh, okay. Blurry close up. Well, that's good, Carolyn. For me, I got my hair done yesterday, so I'm super happy. Oh. All right. Anyway, thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye.